everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, Jason and I are travel agents with ET Family Travel, and we have traveled to over 80 countries in all 50 states. Our first international trip was in 2013, and we have traveled internationally every year since. We have a travel blog and a YouTube named Pursuing Travel with the Millers. Every Tuesday, we put out a YouTube video called our Culinary Adventure. It's kind of our play on Taco Tuesday. And it basically goes over different kinds of foods from around the world that we've tried in our travels. And every Sunday, we put out a virtual vacation video, which is a relaxing video of either sunsets, waterfalls, or different things we've seen in our travels that are relaxing that could ease you into your week. Our goal is to inform people about different destinations during our Wonder Wisely events.
Yes,
Yes,
so with
with
Wander
Wonderwise.
Wisely, is what we're trying to do. Like Donna said, is help people learn about everywhere around the world. We invite travel leaders, like we've had, for example, a travel TV host join us. We have had other nations, their tourism boards join us, as well as we've had people like we've had a river cruise company and things. So we actually have two Wander Wisleys this week. So St. Kitts is number one, and then we have Sandals and beaches later in the week on Friday. And a little heads up that next month will be Curacao, the Caribbean nation within the Dutch kingdom of Curacao. That's another beautiful island country. But what we're focusing on today is the beautiful twin island nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it is the smallest in the smallest sovereign nation in the Western Hemisphere, but just because it's a small nation doesn't mean it has a lot to offer. We've been there before, and we were really impressed with how much there is to see and do there, and a lot of things that are first are meaning unique to the Caribbean. Like, I mean, it's home to the beautiful Brimstone fortress, which is a huge fortress up on a hill that overlooks, you can see St. Eustatius in the back in the distance, and this beautiful green mountainside, kind of like you see in the picture below, because the volcano is there. It's also the only country in the Caribbean that still has a working rail system. So it goes back to the sugar plantation days, that you can take a ride on the train. That it's a tourist train now, but it's really unique riding along the scenery and the cliffs as you're looking down at the beautiful ocean. So, and then you have, a surprise of the carnival dancers will come on board and show you what carnival is like in St. Kitts, which is different. I've found out that every carnival is different in every nation that you go to. So a little bit different kind of way. So enough of me talking about St. Kitts. Let's hear from the experts. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison with St. Kitts and Nevis Tourism Board, so she can tell us a little bit more about this amazing destination.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Donna. Thank you both for the invitation to join you today. Nice to virtually meet all of you. I'm also
Allison,
pleased.
I think you're muted.
Oh, there, can you hear me now?
No. Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay, I was going to say, it looks like it's unmuted. Apologies for that. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again, Jason and Donna, for inviting us to join you today. It is nice to virtually meet all of you. I'm joined today by my wonderful colleague, Shireena Mills from the St. Kitts Marriott Resort and Royal Beach Casino. So we're really pleased to talk to you today about St. Kitts. I will also be touching upon our sister island of Nevis as well. Hopefully everyone can see the screen okay. If you can't, feel free to send us a message in the chat. If you have any questions, also feel free to share those in the chat. We're here for you to answer all those questions. So I'm going to kick it off and transport all of us from our offices, from our living rooms, from our kitchens, all the way to the beautiful island of St. Kitts by way of a very short video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this quick tour around our beautiful island.
De sabia, sarique, caxinguele, maracajá, voo de mate, tapere, saci, perere, boitatá. Quando bichos e seres saírem de dentro da mata fechada, se ouviram gritos da noite, saúde açoite pela madrugada.
Even complete with the dogs barking. That's right. It's that authentic when you listen to one of our videos. Yes, that is my backdrop, my sidekick. That would be Spud the Wonder Dog. So actually, I wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about the logistics of our island, where we're located, how you get there. So if everyone can see this map okay, this is actually a colorful map of the Caribbean. And more specifically, I want to focus on this region here, which is known as the Lesser Antilles or the West Indies. On the northern edge of this island chain is where you will find St. Kitts and Nevis. We are a dual island nation. So when someone's wanting to go to Nevis, they have to come to St. Kitts. We are basically two very unique islands with only a 2.5-mile body of water stretching between us. Our closest larger island neighbors near us are Antigua to the east and St. Martin to the north. We're a wonderful location. We fall right on that northern edge of the West Indies, so the climate and the temperature is quite moderate, and we do have trade winds all throughout the year. One thing that's important to note, as Jason mentioned, we are a small dual island nation, but we are actually an independent country. We gained our independence from Great Britain in 1983, so we are an independent federation. We are still linked quite closely to the British Commonwealth, so you will see that influence around the islands, but you will also see a strong African and a strong island experience as well. So passports are required. We are not a US territory, we are our own independent nation, but we're a small country, as Jason mentioned. So between the two islands together, we have approximately 55,000 people, and that's over both islands. St. Kitts is the larger of the two, and Nevis, which is just 2.5 miles away, is to the south of our island. The main gateway when you fly in is actually St. Kitts, so you fly into the airport here. And then the north side of the island that you see here, that's where I call it the meaty side of the island, in terms of that's where a lot of the historical and cultural activities are located. With what Jason was saying before, the islands, yes, they're volcanic in origin. So both St. Kitts and Nevis are home to dormant volcanoes. So that's why when you actually come to the islands, you will see how mountainous they are. We also have a rainforest on both islands. And in fact, on St. Kitts, our rainforest is actually expanding. We're very careful with how we develop on the islands. I think oftentimes we're a little bit under the radar because we are not a mass market destination, but we have so much to offer, not just from the historical point of view, from the cultural activities, but also from the natural nature-based activities. You know, having such a big rainforest, we have wonderful opportunities for hiking, for ziplining, even for horseback riding. So a lot of really unique activities on both islands. Our capital cities of Basseterre and Charlestown are located respectively on each island. And although we are part of the British Commonwealth, we do accept US dollars all over both islands. So it's quite easy for you once you do get to the islands to be able to buy different things. You can withdraw money from the ATMs, you can use credit cards. I mean, it's quite easy to travel around and explore both of these islands. I touched upon the adventure and the history, but I also wanted to mention the culinary side of our islands. You know, for being a small nation, we have some incredible restaurants, everything from upscale dining to little local restaurants that are owned by local fishermen. There's really something for everyone's kind of diet and everyone's kind of desires. We also have a growing a wellness program on our islands. And I think because our islands are so quiet, they're so untouched, and they're still so authentic, it really does lend itself very well to wellness. It's very easy to disconnect. Our romance market is also growing. It's a wonderful destination for honeymoons, for weddings, and even vow renewals. But it's also a destination that's ideal for families from all ages. We are seeing a real increase in multi-generational families coming to the island, as well as solo travelers. Being such a safe destination, that really does lend itself well to being great for families as well as solo travelers. I always like to say, if you're looking for the kind of experience when you come to these islands, you're really looking at the kind of experiences that you might have on Hawaii or Costa Rica. We have a lot in common with those destinations, not just with the geography and the landscape, but just in the types of activities and the type of geography that we have, as well as the vibe that exists on both islands. So that's one thing I would definitely say when you're considering our islands. Think about Costa Rica and Hawaii and that kind of experience. It'll be very similar to what you'll find on our islands. How you actually travel to St. Kitts, we've got quite a bit of airlift, as you can see out of this map. For the majority of you coming from the United States, we have flights out of Newark, we have flights out of New York, Charlotte, Atlanta, as well as Miami. Now, our daily service is actually via Miami with American Airlines. With the other gateways, it's usually once or maybe twice a week, depending on the carrier. And Jason and Donna can go in more detail about that with you. We also have some airlift out of the UK and Toronto as well. And of course, we also have quite a bit of airlift out of the Caribbean region. So it really is quite easy to get to the islands. But what I would encourage you to do, if you are going to be coming to St. Kitts and Nevis, why not spend a full week? Do a split stay. Spend some time on St. Kitts, but then also go over to Nevis. Go over to Nevis and have time on that island as well, because although we're very close together, the islands are very different from one another. So I really encourage a split stay. And after all, if there's 52 weeks in a year, you certainly deserve a week off. So I highly recommend that. Now, prior to arrival, we don't really have any strict requirements, but we do recommend that you complete your ETA or your electronic travel authorization prior to arriving. If you forget, that's okay. It's not a problem. We're still going to let you in. It just takes a little bit longer on the other end because you've got to fill out your paperwork upon arrival. If you complete the ETA ahead of time, it streamlines the arrival process, and it just gets you through customs and immigration much quicker and gets you to that resort or to that beach or to that activity as soon as you get off the plane. So we definitely encourage you to do it prior to arrival. It's very easy. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes and your approval is on the spot. You save that QR code and you just present it when you arrive along with your passport. Very, very easy. Now, traveling between the two islands, a lot of people will ask me, well, how do I get across? Is there a bridge? No, there's not. You're traveling on open water. So we have water taxis, we have public ferries, we even have a car ferry that actually travels between the two islands. Very easy to travel. This is very popular. People do this every day. I have friends that live on Nevis and work on St. Kitts, so they travel every day via the water to get to work. So it's very easy to organize either prior to arrival or once you arrive on the islands. From the south end of the island, it only takes about 6 or 7 minutes to get across via water taxi. And then from our public ferry at Port Zante, it's about a 40 to 45-minute ride from one island to the other. And it's a beautiful journey, so I highly recommend it. If you're arriving via cruise, all the major cruise ships and cruise lines will come into Port Zante. That is our main cruise terminal. Now, Nevis is a bit smaller. Their port is more shallow. So the larger cruise ships can't get into Nevis, so they will be sailing into St. Kitts. But again, it's very easy to organize tours and excursions over to Nevis if that's what you'd like to do when you're there on a cruise. But I really want to jump into the real crux of this presentation is all our different sites and activities. Because when you realize just how much these islands have to offer, you will realize there's so many things to do, you will never be bored. Brimstone Hill Fortress, as Jason mentioned, is our UNESCO World Heritage Site. This took over 100 years to build. It's an incredible structure and is often referred to as the Gibraltar of the Caribbean. As you'll see from that top right-hand corner, you'll see a table with some chairs. That is our newest restaurant. It's called the 1762 Gibraltar Lounge. It's a wonderful open air dining area with fantastic food, wonderful cocktails. And after you tour this structure, you can actually go have a meal or have a cocktail overlooking the fortress as well as overlooking the Caribbean. And on a clear day, you can see out to some of our sister islands. And it's absolutely breathtaking. With Brimstone Hill, you can either do a self-guided tour or you can actually be escorted by a tour guide, but it's well worth a visit. And this is one of our most popular attractions on the island. As Jason also mentioned, we are the last island in the West Indies that still have an operating train. Like most of the islands in this region, it was all about sugarcane. So this particular scenic railway, or the sugar train as we call it, still operates on the original tracks that actually travel around the north side of the island, where they used to transport the sugarcane from the sugarcane fields down to the sugarcane factory. Back in 2005, when we moved away from agriculture and shifted completely toward tourism, there was talk of paving over these railroad tracks like other islands did. But I'm so grateful to that team back then that said, no, we need to remember this. We need to honor our heritage. So the sugar train was born, and this is also one of the most popular excursions we have. So this follows, again, those original tracks. You go around the north side of the island and you see some incredible views, but you also see a different side of the island. You see more of the rural side of the island. This travels through the backyards of schools and churches, and you really get to get a feel for the landscape of the north side of the island. It is quite beautiful. You learn a lot about the history, you learn about some of the traditional songs, and of course there is rum punch served on board, so nobody will be getting thirsty. But it really is a fun excursion, not only for families and children, but for adults of all ages. Our Caribel Batik Gallery and Studio is at Romney Manor. This is actually the ruins of the Wingfield estate, which was Thomas Jefferson's great-great-great-grandfather's estate. Caribel Batik is actually an art gallery and a studio where you can actually watch the artisans create the batik designs, but you can also do a little bit of shopping. Got some wonderful items here that are created through this art of batik. And if you're not familiar with batik, this is an Indonesian art form that uses hot wax and dye. Every single design is done by hand, so no two designs are the same. It's quite unique. The gardens here are absolutely beautiful. There's a wonderful little cafe where you can try some rum or have a little bite to eat. But it really is such a lovely little excursion if you want to do something a little different. We also have the option where you can take a batik class yourself, so you can learn how to apply these methods and create your own batik design. We have a lot of sugarcane that grew on St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course, with all that sugarcane comes rum. So we have a wonderful Petition Rum Master program on St. Kitts. It's an immersive experience where you go around to quite a few of the distilleries. You learn about the process of distilling sugarcane into rum, but you also get to distill your own batch. You get to label it, and of course, you can do several tastings throughout the tour. So this is a really unique tour. This is one of our newest excursions in the last few years, and it's extremely popular. So I highly recommend this for those foodies out there, or for those folks who like doing mixology classes. This is a really fun excursion. And it also travels to different parts of St. Kitts as well. For the culinary junkies out there, we have some cooking classes at Fairview Great House. This is also located on the north side of the island. It was the restored home of a French lieutenant colonel from the 17th century. And in this space, we've actually created a space for cooking classes, as well as tours, as well as rum tasting. It's a great venue for events, small weddings and parties, but it's the views here that really are captivating. It's not that far from Brimstone Hill, so that view and that vantage point is very similar to what you will find from the fortress. And the cooking classes vary depending on the given day or the week and what their schedule is. But it's a really fun location, and if you do enjoy cooking classes, then I highly recommend doing a class at Fairview. For those of you who want to kind of get out there and really get into nature and explore our rainforest, we have Liamuiga Natural Farms. This is also one of our newer excursions. You get into a four-wheel drive Range Rover overland vehicle. You travel to one of the more remote, pristine parts of our rainforest, and you actually go to a working tropical farm. There's an amazing spread laid out for you with breakfast. Then you actually do the walking tour, and they explain to you all the different processes and all the different harvesting techniques they've done to kind of salvage everything that grows there and how they can turn that into produce as well as homemade rum punch. So it's a really nice excursion if you want to kind of get more in touch with nature as well as really fresh, wonderful food. Highly recommend it. One of the best rum punches I've ever had in my life, and probably because I could see monkeys all over while I was drinking it. So definitely a unique experience and one I'd highly recommend. For those who do want to kind of get their adrenaline pumping, for all those adventure junkies out there, we do have hiking, we have ziplining, we have ATV tours, dune buggy tours, horseback riding, we even have bird watching. So that's a really nice option. In that picture you see to the left, you'll see the peak in the distance. That's our highest peak, Mount Liamuiga, and that stands at just under 4,000 feet tall. So it's a very challenging hike. So if you do enjoy hiking, I highly recommend it, but we do encourage you to have a guide. It's a very, very good idea to actually be in a escorted group, even if it's a small group. But it really is a wonderful, pristine rainforest. And I think this is definitely where the Costa Rica and Hawaii comparisons come in quite strongly when it comes to our destination. If you prefer your adventures in the water or just above the water, we have stand-up paddleboarding, parasailing, kayaking, snorkeling, jet skiing, but we also have diving as well. So if you're an avid diver, we do have a wreck about 30 feet down on one side of St. Kitts. We also have some dive sites off Nevis as well. The snorkeling is also very, very good, so I highly recommend that. And if you're a very serious diver, we're also a good base for you to explore St. Eustatius, which is a tiny island north of us. They also have some exceptional diving as well. Over on Nevis, they have their fair share of history. None other than the most famous forefather from Nevis, which is Alexander Hamilton. He was born on the island of Nevis and spent the first 8 years of his life there. We have a wonderful array of tours where you can dive really deep into his early childhood. It's quite a fascinating look into his early life and how what he saw as a child influenced him throughout his political career as well as his life. So highly recommend that if you're going to Nevis. Or just, taking a car, perhaps renting a car for the day or getting a driver for the day and exploring the island, because you'll see wonderful little gems like St. Thomas Anglican Church, which is the church you see there to the right. It is like walking back in time. This church was built in the 1600s and it is still used today every week for mass, for baptisms, and for weddings. So it is really, really special. And I think that's one of the things about Nevis and St. Kitts is that when you go to the islands, again, because we're not overdeveloped, we're not mass market, it does feel like you're walking back in time, but in the most wonderful way. It really is truly special. For the adventure side, we have some great hiking options on Nevis. We have biking adventures, but we also have a Bobby Jones 18-hole championship golf course on Nevis as well. That is actually adjacent to our Four Seasons property on Nevis, but anyone is welcome to golf there. You just need to request your tee time in advance. So that is a nice option. We do have a golf course on St. Kitts as well. It's a public golf course, which is owned by our government, and it's a lovely course. It's just not a Bobby Jones rated golf course, but it's beautiful, and they also have wonderful views. Again, we have the horseback riding on the beach, we have yoga, we have a wide range of wellness activities, we even have sound healing and chakra balancing. So it just depends what you're after. We pretty much have something for everyone. If you're wanting to do a bit of self-discovery, you can certainly rent a car and explore both islands. I do like to mention, though, that we drive on the left-hand side of the road. So that's always an important little piece of information to know before you get in the car. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, we have some wonderful taxis and drivers that are really more like tour guides than taxi drivers. You can run a driver for the day and explore the island that way, or you can book an excursion or a tour through one of our many tour operators. We have so many different options on both islands. Or you can go down to the concierge desk at one of the resorts, such as the Marriott, and book a tour through the concierge. So we've got some wonderful options, and it really is worthwhile to get out and really explore the islands. And because it is such a safe destination, we encourage people to do so. The resorts are wonderful, but there's a lot of magic to be discovered once you leave the resort. Very important to go around and really see what the islands are all about. And I do want to mention too, I know I touched upon the fact that our islands are volcanic in origin, but with volcanic origin islands, like Hawaii, for example, you'll have a variety of beaches. So we have white sand beaches, such as you'll see here to the left, which is at the Marriott Resort. But we also have to the right, black sand beaches as well, which is at the Koi Resort. So it really depends where on the island you are that will determine the type of beach you have. So I just love this shot because it truly just illustrates how diverse our landscape is and how stunning our geography really is. And that shot there, of course, to the left is a great plug for the Marriott, which you're going to learn about in just a few minutes. If you're thinking of getting married on the islands or perhaps renewing your vows, we have endless options for you. All those historical sites I just mentioned, you can get married at any one of them. We even had people get married on the sugar train. There's just no limit to the options or your creativity. There's no residency requirements, so you could come in on a cruise ship, get married the same day, and then sail off into the sunset to your next destination. We have some wonderful wedding planners on the island, both in the resorts as well as outside of the resorts. And the only thing we really require is that you get married between sunrise and sunset. But there's all kinds of different options there. And we have a dedicated section on our website for romance specifically. So really, really nice. And some of the venues, I mean, they're absolutely, I know that I have some contacts who are getting married in St. Thomas Anglican Church later in the year on Nevis. Very small, very intimate, but again, so many different options. Now, dining, I kind of alluded to before, but we have such a wonderful array of dining. We have our upscale dining, such as Carambola Beach or Pavilion Beach Club for those special occasions. But we also have some wonderful family-run restaurants. Spratnet is one of my favorites. It's owned by a local fisherman. They have live music a couple nights a week, and the seafood is incredible. You know, I often get asked, well, how expensive is the food? Well, it varies depending on where you go. Just like here in the US, you go to a very upmarket restaurant, you're going to pay a little more. You go to a family restaurant, it's quite reasonable. I think I paid $4 for that rum punch that is in my hand right there in that photo. So it really just varies depending on where you go. We also have some lovely restaurants right near some of our resorts. We have our Spice Mill restaurant, which has some wonderful food and some really innovative cocktails. That's down on the south end of the island. But we also have restaurants right along the strip, which is where all our local beach bars and restaurants are. And the strip is only about a 20-minute walk from the Marriott, 5 minutes in a taxi. So very easy to get to any of the restaurants. And we really encourage people to go beyond the resort and eat in some of the local restaurants. Our taxis are regulated, so it's a set price no matter where you go. There's no haggling for a cab. Everything is regulated. We don't have Lyft. We don't have Uber. It's just a set price no matter where you go. And one of the wonderful things about when you stay at the Marriott, for example, right outside as you're walking out of the entrance to the Marriott, it's a listing of all the taxi rates, how much it will cost to go to this restaurant, how much it will cost to go to this place or that place. So it's very, very easy to organize. And our taxis are wonderful. And our drivers, I know I've said this before, but they are like mini tour guides. They're amazing. Special events, we have so many different ones, especially during the summer months. Every June, we have our annual music festival. This draws acts from all around the world, and we get people coming from every walk of life to come to our concerts. Amazing. This year, Jennifer Hudson was our headlining act. Last year, it was Mary J. Blige. But in the past, we've had everyone from Smokey Robinson to Patti LaBelle, even Kenny Rogers. So it's all kinds of music for everyone. Our cross-channel swim, that happens every March. So if you compete in Ironmans or Iron Women competitions, this is a wonderful event. All the contestants swim from Nevis to St. Kitts, and there is a huge celebration afterwards on St. Kitts to celebrate the end of the swim. Our restaurant week happens every July. We pick one ingredient, and every restaurant and bar rallies behind that ingredient and celebrates something just special for that particular ingredient. Different recipes, different cocktails. It's a really fun event. And then our carnival celebration on St. Kitts happens right after Christmas into early New Year, and that's a lot of fun. Nevis holds their carnival celebration in early August. And I probably should mention for you mango fans out there, we have a mango festival in Nevis every July. So all of these events are listed on our websites, but so many fun things happen throughout the year, especially during our summer months. So that's a lot on the destination, but I really want to turn it over now to my wonderful colleague, Shireena, to talk about the beautiful St. Kitts Marriott Resort. So Shireena, I will stop sharing my screen and I will turn it over to you.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us today to give you some well-needed info on my homeland, my place of birth, St. Kitts. I'm Kittitian by birth and raised here, so I'm a local. I'm the marketing manager here at the St. Kitts Marriott Beach Resort Casino and Spa. And in our name says what we have to offer. It's all three. We have our own private beach. We have a 35,000 square foot Las Vegas style casino for those high rollers and low rollers if you like the slot machine, the penny slot machines. And we have a luxurious, newly renovated spa. My favorite is probably the sauna. Just relax after a long day. Okay, so I'm going to start my presentation. We are the largest resort on island with 389 guest rooms, 69 suites, which are placed in separate, what we call villas, their own building, which stands separate to the main building. In our main building, we have 5 floors. The presidential suite starts at the top, and then you come down to garden view rooms, and we have 320 of those in the main building. You'll see a photo and a video of what the property looks like. It's really extensive, right? So we have 8 restaurants on the property with 4 bars. We have event spaces that total 15,000 square foot. We have both indoor and outdoor event spaces. In fact, I think we have the most when it comes to event space. We have, again, our newly renovated Emerald Mist Spa, and we have a championship golf course that is 5-minute walk, maybe a 2-minute golf cart across from the property. And of course, you get those views when you're in a resort view room or a mountain view room. You can actually see the golf course, right? We have our ocean view pool, which is our main pool where it's the life of the resort, all the parties, and has a swim-up bar. And most of the main activities from our activity center happen in that main pool. But we also have 2 smaller pools, which are much more quiet and family-oriented and just chill and relax kind of pools. Okay, and we have, again, our Royal Beach Casino, which is 35,000 square foot, and it's Las Vegas style. It's actually probably the only one in the Caribbean. I can say that with certainty, right? And we have our upgraded fitness center, or gym, and we're only 12 minutes, just 12 minutes, maybe 10 if you're a taxi driver, really knows the road from the Royal Llewellyn Batcher International Airport. Right? So airlift, we do have many airlines, like Allison said, that do get you here any time of year, whether you come from New York, Toronto, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, and even the UK. I've been on the BA flight that takes you from Antigua to St. Kitts, and it's a really nice flight from the UK also. All right, so our guest rooms, we have 320 guest rooms with either an ocean view, pool, resort, or garden views. Guest rooms can be either a king bed or a double. So I love that you have king beds here, because I've been to resorts that you only get queen and you don't get that option to just lay on that big bed. Yep, so we do offer double or king beds with a maximum occupancy of 4 persons per room. Right, most of the suites and rooms are actually connecting, so which is an ideal situation for families who want to stay right next to each other. There's actually a door. You can be like, hey, mom, hey, dad, what are you up to? Right? All of our rooms have a private balcony or a patio, except the garden view. The garden view is usually on the bottom floor, and there's just a window. There's no balcony or patio, but all the other rooms have their own private balcony or a patio. And all of our rooms are equipped with a standard mini refrigerator, safety deposit box, coffee and tea stations, ironing board, flat screen TVs, direct dial telephone, and individual climate control, so you can control the heat or the cooling on your own, and luxurious bedding, to name a few. So this is what one of our lovely ocean view suites look like. As you can see, it's separate, the bedroom is separate, and then you have a living area, right? And just outside of that patio door, you can see the ocean, which is the Atlantic side, right? So we have 69 2 and 3 bedroom suites, which are resort view, ocean view, Royal Mountain View, Royal Ocean View, and we have 1 and 2 bedroom villas which have a full kitchen, dining area, washer, and dryer. We get that question a lot. So these are only the suites that would include these. So the villas, or we call them suites also, some of them are equipped with a full kitchen, dining area, and washer and dryer, perfect for families again. Right. So this is what a double bed in an ocean view room looks like. So you have, when you go out on the patio, the balcony, you have a view of the Atlantic Ocean and our private beach. When I say private, it's mostly open to guests, right? And all guests can use the beach, right? And then you have a view of the pool and all the surrounding areas from an ocean view room. All right, this is what a pool view room would look like. This is our south pool, right? We have a north pool and a south pool. So this is what the south pool looks like. Like I said, perfect for a quiet day and just want to stay on resort. We have an ice cream shop. You can get some ice cream and just lounge on a pool chair. And the pool chairs are free. I get that question a lot too. There's no charge. There's only a charge if you want to rent a private cabana, which is more luxurious. It has a cabana style with curtains to shade you from the sun. It comes with complimentary water and a snack. And that's about $35 US to rent those cabanas for the whole entire day. Right, but the pool chairs are completely free to guests. Right, this is what a resort view looks like. So you get to see the mountainside that is opposite to the resort. And you also see all the surrounding properties from that view. Right. And this is what our garden view room looks like. So this one is the one without the balcony, but you get a perfect view of the garden. And so the term garden view. Right. All right. So for dining, we have fire and steak, seafood restaurant. We have La Cucina, which is our Italian restaurant. We have Cafe Calypso, which is my favorite place to get a latte or a smoothie when I'm at work. We have Calypso Restaurant, which is our breakfast restaurant. It's only for breakfast. We have Bohemia, which is our lunch restaurant, but it also goes up to 6 p.m. So you can actually have supper there too. And we have Are We. So Are We is Kitishan for all of us, or all of we. So that's what our restaurant here is called. The Great Room Restaurant is Are We. And we also have a sushi bar. So both of them, it's a bar and a sushi bar, right? And you can get bites also at the bar, but on the separate side, there's also a sushi bar. So you have both options. And we have our newest event space, which is the Beach House. And I'll explain a little bit more on that one. We also have the Pizza Shack where you can get lunch. It opens at 11 a.m. and it closes, I want to say, at 10 p.m., right? Great for a nighttime snack. My favorite is the jerk chicken, right? So we have our bars, our Are We lobby bar, which you can actually see on top here. That's a picture of what Are We bar looks like. And we have Bohemia Beach Bar, which is just facing the beach and facing the main swimming pool, sorry. Right? And then you have the main pool swim bar. So it's actually in the pool where people sit down in the water in the main pool and have their drinks and hang out, listen to the music, hang out with the bartender for the day, right? And then we have Sky Lounge, which is actually, it's sort of a nightclubby, loungy area that's located in the casino, right? So people go there to watch the NFL games, or you can go to watch any game, whether they're showing it, or you can go listen to entertainment, live entertainment, or you can just go hang out and have a drink, and that's based in the casino. Right, this is what our fire steak and seafood restaurant looks like, and it's more of a modern dining area with great steak and seafood options. I love the lobster there. And this is our La Cucina. It's Italian. It's more of a rustic Italian flavor. We do have a wood-burning pizza oven also, so you can get signature pizzas just from the St. Kitts Marriott. And this is what Calypso Cafe looks like. So most of the times you'll see people lounging here. They get a croissant or a muffin or their latte or smoothie or gelato, right? So this is open until 11 p.m. most nights and opens at 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's a great spot for in-between snack, or you can get a quick bite if you're not going to go for breakfast, or in the evening you can get something to go if you're not feeling like going out to the restaurants. This is our breakfast spot where you have a continental style buffet breakfast. You can also do a la carte breakfast, but most people come for the buffet. It's about 33 US per person. Kids 6 to 11 are half off, and toddlers 0 to 4 are eat free. in any restaurant on the property, right? So this one is breakfast. Breakfast is served from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Every single day, Sunday to Sunday. And they do have local options. So you get some of my favorites, which are like saltfish and Johnny cake. You have to try the Johnny cakes. It's like fried bread, right? You get green banana sauteed, and that, again, that's a local special. You get stewed chicken. That's a breakfast special, believe it or not, here, right? But they do mix local and continental together.
The
Right?
Johnny
And this
cakes
is
are
what
delicious. The Johnny cakes are delicious.
they're addictive. Fried bread, I mean, it's like a cross between a donut and a regular bread, right? So Bohemia, it's more for laid back eatery right next to the ocean and the main pool. And you can still feel like you're outside, but it's covered and you can have a drink at the bar. You can have some delicious wraps, sandwiches, coconut crusted shrimp with fries. So it's more of that lunch or early supper place just to hang out close to the beach. Right. RV Great Room lobby bar. So this is what it looks like. It's newly renovated again. So the furniture has changed since this picture was taken. We do renovate the hotel pretty often to make sure it looks modern and updated. And lobby bar, again, they have live karaoke on Thursdays and Sundays. And you have a live entertainment. So a band or a local singer would be there at most of the times at happy hour and beyond on Fridays. So this is where the action happens. Most people, if they are early to check in, they sit at the bar for about an hour or two and they forget that they have to check in, right? They end up checking in at 8 o'clock because they've spent 4 hours at the bar, right? So this is RV Sushi Bar. It's literally just across from RV Great Lobby Bar, and you can get handmade fresh sushi right here. Right, and this is what the pizza shack looks like. It's just off of our main building. And again, the pizzas are awesome. Again, my favorite is the jerk chicken pizza, but they have so many options and it's all handmade in-house. Right, so this is our newest event space. So most people ask if it's a restaurant. It's not. It's called the Beach House Event Space. But when we do have groups in or we have high occupancy, the Beach House turns into lunch spot, believe it or not, or activity spot where they have an event. We have something called pop-up lunches where they do barbecues and stuff for the group that we have in-house. And that's an option that you can have a lunch spot besides Bohemia every single day. So this can be used for that, right? Other than that, this is our newest space where I think most people love it because you get a view of the main pool and the beach, hence why it's called the Beach House. And it's all open and airy, and the decor is, I'm going to show you what the decor looks like, but it's really nice if you have an intimate celebration like a wedding or a corporate or a group, or for us, what we've recently started, Kitchen Night. So Kitchen Night at the Beach House happens every Saturday while this group is in. So what they do is we have local craft vendors, we have local entertainment like the masquerade and the clowns, or we have a local singer that comes in to sing to the guests, and all local kitchen food options. It's amazing, and the guests really love that, right? And then we have Saturday R&B brunches. So if it's a brunch where R&B plays, people relax, and they have really delicious food with good company. And you can use this pretty much if you want to do prom, if you want to do a wedding or any group activity, the Beach House would be available. Okay, so experiences are mostly on property. Of course, we have our Royal St. Kitts Golf Club. I recently started to play golf. I didn't realize it was that long, but I like it. Right? Our golf course, of course, is an 18-hole championship style golf course. And my favorite hole, of course, is 18 if I actually make it there because it overlooks the Atlantic Ocean. And like you get distracted by how pretty the view is. At that point, you don't really care if you make the shot, right? So we also have Emerald Mist Spa, which has a plunge pool, cold and hot, which is on trend right now. We have a sauna, we have 7 treatment rooms, We have newly modern pedicure stations, manicure, and of course, we do retail of all organic products that are actually good for your skin and your hair. Right. And of course, we have Royal Beach. This is a picture of what Royal Beach looks like with the palapas. And I get this question a lot also. These palapas and the beach chairs are free to all guests. You don't have to pay. Because some resorts, they do charge you for the beach chairs, right? But not at St. Kitts Marriott. Beach chairs are free if you're a guest. In fact, you can sleep on the beach chair if you want to, right? If you don't feel like sleeping in your room, you can have the beach chair, right? And of course, how do I forget the Royal Beach Casino and Sky Lounge? So these are experiences that are unique to our property alone. And the 3 pools on property. All right, so this is what the golf course looks like. Again, look at this view. Would you be playing golf and concentrating? Right? So it's an 18-hole championship style golf course, and you have holes that overlook the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Right? This is what the plunge pools look like in the Emerald Mist Spa. It's a great place, like I said, to unwind, get a couples massage. My favorite is called the Kittitian massage, where they use a bamboo stick, like to get all the kinks and tension out, right? Because sometimes you're on vacation and you still need tension removed, even though you see how pretty the beach is. The spa is a perfect place to do that, right? Or get a manicure or pedicure right here in our lovely pedi and mani stations. Right? And therefore, so if you're a family of 4, all of you can sit and have pedicures at the same time. That's perfect. All right. So this is the connection of our main pool. So they're like 2 pools that make one big pool. So this is what that would look like where they meet. And we also have, like I said, the palapas and the sun decks on the beach are free. And if you want a private cabana at the pool, there's a rental fee and it lasts you all day. Right. This is actually an aerial shot of what our property looks like, because you hear me say it, but you have to see it. Right. This is our beach right here. Walking down, and we have a built-in reef to make sure that the beach is safe and not rough. Right. So this is our main building that you're seeing, and then in the center of the property, that's the main pool. And you can see the villas that we call villas, and you can see Bohemia right down here on your, well, it would be my left-hand side, and beach house is right across from that. And then the big beach is facing this way, right? All right. So in terms of fitness, of course, there are people who love to work out while they're on vacation. I'm not one of them, right? But if you do want to work out, our fitness center or gym is open 24 hours a day. All you need is a key card and it gets you access to the gym any time of day, right? We also offer yoga classes on the beach. If you're into that, you want to get up at sunrise and do some yoga, perfect on the beach, and you feel so relaxed, you can go and just pretty much enjoy the rest of your day. And that's an option. All right, Royal Casino. Again, it's a 35,000. It's huge. There's so many different games to play. Of course, they do betting also there, so you can bet on games. And if you are a high roller, this is probably where you're going to spend 2 to 3 days out of your stay here. All right, this is what Sky Lounge looks like. So I usually go to watch the game, even though I know what a touchdown is. That's about it. Right? Yeah, and they do play games here, and they have live entertainment most nights, or you can just go have a drink, and they do bites here also. This is actually inside of the casino. All right, so we usually recommend our favorite off-property experience, and like Allison said, we're the only island, and like Jason said, we're the only island with an actual working railway, right? Even though it can't get me to work, it still gives me a tour of the island, right? So I live in the part of the island where it actually tours. So it actually passes right behind my house. So I get to see the train pass every day. It usually passes when there are cruise ships in because it's cruise season here, right? And I wave to all the passengers, and it's such a unique experience that you actually feel like you're in St. Kitts. And you feel how different it is, how homely it is. You kind of feel like you're at home, right? And you get to see the countryside. Because if you live in a city and you see skyscrapers all day, seeing mountains and oceans and cliffs is pretty different, right? So for meeting and events, we do have a lot of options. So I'm going to run through them quickly. We have our Grand Plaza. We have the beach because we do weddings on the beach. We do receptions on the beach. We have an ocean view terrace, which is great for small, intimate cocktails or receptions. We have a cascade gazebo, which is a gazebo that is romantic. It has a water feature. It's perfect for a small wedding or a proposal or something romantic and intimate. Right? We have Westbury Lawn. People actually get married because the view is awesome. It's the hills that you see, Timothy Hill, and you can maybe see a little bit of Nevis from there also. And of course, the beach, right? And we also have the North Pool where people do cocktails and receptions at the North Pool because it's so quiet and intimate there also. Cockleshell Lawn is another lawn that people love to get married on here or have small barbecues or small family events on that lawn. Again, it has a great view of the beach. We have our Royal Ballroom. Of course, our ballroom is actually the biggest in St. Kitts, and it can be separated into three. I'll talk about that shortly. And we have the pavilion. So the pavilion is across from the Royal Golf Course. So this is what we call locally the Dome, and it's the biggest event space that if you have like a huge gala of 600 people or more, it's a perfect space. In fact, I think capacity is 1,500 for the pavilion. And of course, we do off-property meeting as an event. We can cater for that, and we can actually arrange for you to go off-property for your event. And we usually recommend places like Brimstone Hill. We've actually had receptions there, cocktails there, group events there where we do the catering and set it up for you, right? And we have North Gazebo. Again, it's a lovely gazebo. We also have South Gazebo, and we have small meeting rooms like Montserrat. They all have Caribbean island names. So Montserrat and Grenada. That's two of the six. Right. So these are our indoor meeting spaces. The ballroom, which is the largest. Then you all have Caribbean names here. So St. Kitts, Nevis, and Antigua, they make up the ballroom, and you can split the ballroom in 3 partitions if you have a smaller party. So if you only have 150 people attending your event, you can use just St. Kitts. If you have at least, say, a reception of 750 people, we could probably fit you in the entire ballroom. Okay. So the smaller meeting rooms, our smallest is Montserrat, which is more of a conference or boardroom. If you have a quick meeting or you want to have a quick meeting with your team or a family meeting, who knows, right? You can use Montserrat. It fits about 12 people. Okay? I'll have pictures of each area. So this is what our plaza looks like. We call it the Grand Plaza, and it can fit about 1,000 banquet style or 1,400 reception style. And this is the amphitheater. So this would be the stage in the background. And then they do the table seating all around the plaza area. We had a group recently. I think there were a group of almost 700 people, and they fit perfectly in the plaza. It looks so pretty out there. Right? This is what setup on the beach would look like. So we do the lighting and the table setup, right? And it's so romantic and dreamy, or it's so Caribbean, as I say, so tropical. Right? This is what our terrace would look like. And we use this for small cocktails, like a welcome cocktail, if that's something that your group wants or your family wants to have a welcome cocktail for their family reunion. And we use this for, I want to say, it says 70 people comfortably in banquet style and 100 persons reception. But it's a pretty intimate space, right? And then you have the perfect view of the main pool out to the ocean on this location. Right, this is what Cascade Gazebo looks like. I think this was a small wedding that they have here. And this is what Westbury Lawn looks like off that view of Timothy Hill and across the peninsula. You can see all of that with the palm trees and the breeze and the beach. It's perfect. And this is what a cocktail would look like at our North Pool. This is what Cockleshell Lawn looks like. Again, this is a perfect location for a family barbecue or a small intimate wedding, right? And this is our ballroom in all its grandeur, showing you, yep, it looks huge. right? St. Kitts is part of the ballroom, so it's just showing you can do the same setup in St. Kitts because it's St. Kitts, Nevis, and Antigua that make up the ballroom, but you just split them with a partition, and you can have a smaller amount of people in each partition. All right, and this is what Montserrat looks like. So this would be a setup for a conference call or board meeting or even some family planning event that you're going to have. Okay. This is what Grenada looks like. So most of the rooms actually have the same setup. Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominique, and St. Vincent, they do look pretty similar, right? And this is what a setup from us would look like at Brimstone Hill. I think this is Jason's favorite site in St. Kitts. So we actually offer catering and event prep for off-property sites. I love Brimstone Hill too. I live actually 10-minute drive from Brimstone Hill. You can actually see it on a good day, right? All right, so this is what the interior decor looks like in the beach house. This is what it looks like outside with the sign right there. And it has these beautiful rattan lighting fixtures, and it's airy and it's tropical and it's a beach house. All right. So this recently launched in November this year, and so far it's been pretty booked because people love it when you go in, you just go like, this is so pretty, right? And it's a perfect mix of you get views of the property and of the beach. It has its own bar. It has it's pretty new, so it's everything is newly renovated. So people again love new. All right, so another aerial of the property. Right. So this is our beach. The beach is safe for snorkeling, but we don't offer water sports. I have to say that. Okay. And this boat right here, I get a lot of questions. It's actually one of Christopher Columbus' three boats. It's a replica, not the actual boat that Christopher Columbus sailed to St. Kitts on. And St. Kitts is, by the way, named after Christopher Columbus, right? So the Nina is one of the ships that we have, and it's basically a landmark at the St. Kitts Marriott where you take a picture. So you have to come and take a picture with the Nina, which is one of the three boats that Christopher Columbus sailed to the New World in, right? Right. This is another video showing you in, you know, that's and that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you guys soon at the St. Kitts Marriott Beach Resort Casino and Spa.
I
Yeah,
have to also can I just quickly follow up? I just want to say,
yeah, go for it.
having stayed at the Marriott several times, I've been very lucky to stay there on several occasions, and I know the property quite well. And I have to say, too, it's wonderful. This resort has everything you'd expect. Fantastic pools. The restaurants are great. The spa is stunning. The kids club is amazing. I wish I could be a kid and go hang out in there. But I have to also say with the Marriott, you're in an incredible location that is walking distance to local restaurants, local bars, a grocery store, a little salon. The strip, like I said, is very close where all the local bars and restaurants are. But for those of you that like to explore and like leave the resort, you don't have to go far and you will stumble upon cafes, restaurants, bars, like everything is right there. So location wise, it really is hard to beat this resort because everything is right around. There's wonderful restaurants at the resort, but everything is right at your fingertips. So it's very centrally located.
Yeah, the a few things for me, the about the train. For example, the friendliness of the people in St. Kitts is like, I mean, when we took the train, one of the things that was really nice is, hey, seeing kids running up to the fence and waving. It makes you feel like, well, this is a new thing. They've never know that they see the train every day, but they're still friendly, welcoming the people. And who knows, Shireena, when we were there, maybe you were out there waving to us and we
Oh,
didn't
it was in
know.
my backyard.
Yeah, because we
Yes.
we saw many people. That's the thing, the friendliness of the people, and also the safety of the island. That, like, if you think about, like, I mean, people, especially nowadays, are worried about their safety everywhere. But St. Kitts actually, like, if you look at the U.S. State Department report that they have on the different nations out there, that St. Kitts is a level 1, so meaning the safest that you can get. And that's really, to be honest, pretty hard to come by for the US State Department. That, I mean, even Europe is level 2. So you can tell St. Kitts is safe when the US State Department says it's a level 1. So that's something that's also impressive about the country. So yeah, super super friendly, lots and lots to do. The you know from, and yeah, I've actually been to Romney Manor as well and saw the Batik. That's a beautiful art form. We actually bought some while we were there. The so that's great, and also the history behind there connecting to the US. We haven't been to Nevis just yet, but that's on our list. um, Before we jump off, just a couple of quick questions here. So, like, for cruise passengers or just people that are staying there, is a day trip over to Nevis something that's easy to do, or is it something that you really ought to? I mean, of course, it's better to stay a little more time, but is that something that's doable?
Hmm. Yes, it is. I mean, of course, we want people to stay longer and really experience the islands to their full extent. But if people are coming on a cruise, yes, they can organize to go to Nevis for the day. They can either organize it through the cruise line that they're traveling with, or when they get off the cruise ship at Port Zante, we have an amazing array of registered taxi drivers that are at the port. So they can even just hire a driver for the day. The taxi driver can take them down to the south end of the island. Then they hop on a water taxi and then they're in Nevis. Or they can literally get off at one side of Port Zante where the cruise ships come in, walk to the other side of Port Zante and take the public ferry because that runs every hour. So it is quite easy to do. And again, our taxi drivers are regulated by each tourism board. So they're regulated. It's like a set rate no matter where you go. Or they can just book a local excursion when they get to the port. So there are a lot of options. And, again, Nevis is only 2.5 miles away across the Narrows. So they have options, whether they take the public ferry, whether they take a water taxi, either way. But if they take the water taxi, they do have to travel down to the south end of St. Kitts in order to hop on the water taxi to get over. So just a slightly different experience. It's a beautiful drive, though. Like that first opening shot, which was Timothy Hill Lookout, that's the drive they take down the south end of the island, and it's spectacular. So I would encourage people to do that, take that drive down to the south end, then hop on a water taxi and go over. Because when you approach both islands, whether you're going to Nevis from St. Kitts or vice versa, it's breathtaking. It's beautiful. So I would highly encourage that. And we do have some wonderful tour operators and DMCs on the island. So on our website, which I actually posted in the chat for you, St. Kitts, our visit stkitts.com website, as well as the nevisisland.com website. There's a lot of information, a lot of good resources on those websites to help people kind of guide them to what they want to do. So if they want to book a tour directly off the website with the tour operators, they can do that as well. So they don't necessarily have to book something the cruise line is offering.
Excellent. And yeah, Port Zante is it's a nice cruise port with that we stopped by there, and there's some nice restaurant shops all right there in the kind of the downtown kind of the downtown area of the capital city. And definitely we're all about sustainable tourism, and what I'm meaning is not just being green, but also helping out local, so you leave a little bit more than travel's not all about take, it's give and take. So the one thing that I recommend to anybody who's watching this on YouTube and everything, be sure to stop by the craft market there at Port Zante, where the locals are selling their really nice crafts and things like that, and to help support some of the very friendly folks. They'll be very grateful to you for doing so. I can tell you that when we visited, I mean, they were very, very, very friendly and glad when we went by that area, because it's kind of off to the side a bit, at least the last time we were there. But the quick question for Serena: do you have, this is just a question that we get, that I see all the time out there, is all inclusive. Do you have any kind of packages around that,
We do.
or half board, or?
Yeah. We're not an all-inclusive property, but we do have meal plans. What we call meal plans are experiences that you can get your meals included with your stay. So on average, I think it's for adults, it's 195 US per person, includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? At any of the outlets that are on property, right? And then kids 6 to 11 at half price, and then toddlers 0 to 4 are free in that plan. So we do offer something like that. Yes.
Excellent, because that's something that I hear
Yeah.
all the time is, hey, I want to go here. Where's the all-inclusive kind of thing?
Yeah.
That, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like my all-inclusives, but there's also something about trying out, heading out of the resort, trying a local place, get some,
Yeah.
that local food and things like that. But
We
yeah,
really
and the Marriott, like I said, I've never seen it. I've never been in it, but from Timothy Hill, I saw it, and it is in a absolutely stunning location with narrow point of the island.
Yeah.
The just great view and everything like that.
Mhm.
It was a good question, actually, that you answered too about the all-inclusives, because we do get that question a lot, because a lot of people associate Caribbean islands with all-inclusives. But again, like that comparison I called earlier in the presentation, I was comparing Costa Rica and Hawaii. I think that's a really good comparison, not only from a geographical point of view or an activity point of view, but I know that when I think of Hawaii and Costa Rica, I don't necessarily think of all inclusives first. And that also helps when you're identifying who would really enjoy this destination. And while you can do an all inclusive add on, we really encourage people to go beyond the resort, try the local restaurants, try the local bars, because one thing that is very magical about our islands, and I always say this, is that when you do go to those local restaurants and bars, you're there with tourists, but you're there with locals as well, because this is not a destination where we are separated, right? Everyone is there together. And I think in today's world, that is so important. And we need that now more than ever. So you go and you meet people from the islands, because you're going to be dining with them and you're going to be at the bar with them. And that's where that real magic and that exchange of friendships and interaction really happens. So, that's why I think it's probably why we haven't steered in that direction, because we want people to go out and explore.
I couldn't agree more. That, I mean, some of the best, most authentic, travel experiences that we've had is out there, getting there and like truly talking with the people of the country that we're in. Learn that gives a chance that they can learn a little bit about us, we can learn about them, and you come back much more rewarded and well-rounded, because you see the way it really is, not just what the what was the from the resort part. Don't get me wrong, the resorts are amazing, well worth going to see, but also the don't get out there. So I think Donna, before we close things out, also had a quick question.
Yeah. Yeah. But my question was, like, do you have any adult only areas in Marriott besides the casino, which is obvious, but like accommodations, like an area of accommodations that's for adults only?
Our family encourages families, so we don't have any adult only areas except the bars, where of course you have to be 18 and over in St. Kitts to drink alcohol. But we're a family resort, so all the pools that except the main swim up pool, because again that's a bar that's right there. It's adult only. But in terms of accommodation and areas, no adult only, but more so for families. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, this has been a great presentation. A lot of really good information from, starting in St. Kitts when you're flying in there, to, everything that there is to see and do. So a very big thank you to Allison and Shireena with St. Kitts for joining us today here. And, we'll be having more of these kind of sessions, and this will be out on YouTube in the near future for everyone to check out what St. Kitts has to offer, and it's a lot. So thanks again. And
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Allison.
Bye.